guys, Marmalade here again for another gear review, and this is post-trail gear review. As I said in my very first one, if you missed that, is that after my experience doing 903 miles on the PCT on my thru hike, I learned a lot. I brought too much weight, too much stuff. So everything that I have within reason, almost everything is going to get smaller, lighter, and less stuff in general. So if you watch my recent 3-day series of videos from the Sierras, I went over some of the food that I brought and what I eat, but I told you I'd show you how I cook it and what I use. So it's going to be a fairly quick video. I'm going to try to go through this very fast, show you what I had. It's very slight changes, but in the end I saved a little bit of weight and a little bit of space. So and it's more of what I want on the trail. So let's start right away with what I had when I started. Okay, so I'm going to show you what I had when I started. There's not going to be a huge change. The outside of this is going to look the same, but this is my set that I had on the trail with me right there. And I'll explain what I had and the very small differences I have. But I wanted to show you this is not as much about the changes and the weight savings. It is just general what I use when I'm out on the trail. So let's start with this. The old version and the new version are both not going to have the canister in there. But just because this varies in weight, you could have a new one, an old one, so that'll change the weight. So I'm doing it without this to show you everything inside of it but the canister. This fits in there purposely, and that's why I have it, is because it fits in there very well and has room for the stove and for the lighter and things like that. So let's go through it real quick. So you have the bag. When you buy a Toaks titanium pot, they generally send you one of these bags. I'm using that. The next is the Toaks titanium 600 milliliter titanium pot. Has rubberized handles here that fold out like this. Has a lid right there. Just for display purposes, I have a towel here. This is actually my new lighter one, but I normally have a towel. And what I normally do, and the reason why I do this, is I put this in the bottom, and normally my canister goes, I put it upside down, but it goes in there. This helps from scratching the pot and also rattling while you're hiking. So you want a towel too for cleaning things if you spill, but also I use it for when I'm taking this off of the fire and it's super hot. I can use this little towel and grab it with that so I don't burn my hand. So there's the towel. I had a full-size Bic lighter. Lastly was my stove, which is a Soto. This model happens to be the Amicus with a stealth igniter. And let me show you how that unfolds. There you have it there. 4 arms. Here's the stealth lighter, just like that. Push that. The regulator turns it on and off. Very well made, very light, very small and compact. And lastly, I have a little Cuban fiber sack that I keep that in. It's to help protect it. It's super light, this material, and protect it and also not rattle around in the titanium pot. Okay, so there you have what I got off the trail with. Let me show you the very slight difference of what I have now, but like I said before, this is really just to give you some ideas of what to carry when you're on the trail. So I'll be using the same orange bag, and you know it's orange, so I love it. I have a new pot that I bought at PCT Trail Days this year. It's one I've been eyeing. It's actually, the other pot was 600 milliliters. This is 650, so barely bigger. It's the same width, but a fraction taller. But it has more room for the canister, and then my stove and everything in there can fit in there better, and the lid on can close all the way. I was always having a hard time with this shorter one. That's the old version. These handles don't have the rubberizer. They're a little different shape, and they're not rubberized, so you save weight there. Here's the lid. I went from a big lighter to a mini Bic lighter. Save some weight, some space. And I have the same stove right now, the Amicus by Soto, and it has a stealth igniter. And the bag for it. And here's the towel too, the wrap for it. The towel I had before on the other one was, I don't have it anymore, but it was really heavy, so it added to the weight. So what are the differences I saved? Let me put it on the screen right here for you. So as you can see, it's only really a little more than 1.5 ounces savings. Space-wise, I can fit everything in there now, so it's very compartmentalized. And with the small full canister, I thought when I first started I was gonna cook mornings for breakfast and dinners, but I ended up not wanting to take the time in the morning, so I ended up only cooking my food at night, which saved me a lot of gas, and it would last 2 to 3 weeks on a small canister. So depending on how fast your stove can boil water, that's how much life you'll get out of it. Lastly, I showed this a little bit in my last 3-part series in the Sierras, but I showed you guys some of my food and what I eat. But here again is what I cook in, and so it's very simplistic. It's a Reflectix envelope that I've made, pouch, and I just simply took, I cook in freezer quartz bags. So I took one of these, cut the material out to shape to fit this perfectly, use some duct tape to seal it, and then lastly I have my Toaks titanium spoon, long handled, and it's polished right here, much easier on your teeth. So that's all I have. And honestly, between the 6.5 ounces for my new cook set, or new kind of dialed in cook set, this only weighs 2.2 ounces. So that's what is that, 8.7 ounces total for all my cooking stuff. So I think that's really good. It's basically a half a pound. It's funny because when you hold it all, it does not feel like a half a pound, but that's, I think, pretty light compared to a lot of people. So yeah, that's how I do it. Yeah guys, so as promised, it's short and sweet. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it gave you some ideas of maybe something you could do. Also, I'm gonna put a few more stoves that there are. Mine's not the only one that I have. Here's a few that I've used and I know about, that I've seen on the trail that I think are really good and well-tested ones. So let's show you a few of those here. And lastly, thanks for watching. I hope this was informative, like I said, and you enjoyed it. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe to my channel. Ask me questions. I do every Tuesday Q&A, so please ask me some questions and leave them here below. And share with your friends if you want. And lastly, I started a Patreon. Oh, that's nice. And lastly, I've started a new Patreon page. I'd love for you to go check it out. If you can't be a patron and donate a little bit, that's okay, but just check it out. I'm just starting it. I've debuted my new Marmalade logo that's pretty cool, that I'm excited about. When you do donate a little bit, there's different tiers and levels. You get different things from me, but you also get like the logo I've previewed on there first before I show it to anybody else on YouTube. And I'll be doing some photography that I haven't shown anybody, and maybe some gear videos and things like that that will go on Patreon first. So you get things first over people on YouTube and things like that. So, and that helps people like me that are adventurers and want to get out there and create more content and educate and motivate. So just check it out if you can. You can go to patreon.com and it's Mike Marmalade Lawrence. Anyway, thanks again. Till next time, see you down the trail.